Well, hello everyone. This is definitely something that has been a long time coming. So please bear with me, give me some grace as I'm new at getting back in front of the camera. I used to do this on a regular basis about 10 years ago. And this is just something that I've been led to do for a long time, which is to start a series of my testimonies to just be a blessing to someone out there that might be enduring some of the same things that I'm currently going through or have gone through and have made it on the other side smokeless and victorious. So please bear with me as I'm, working on setups and editing and all that good stuff. So this is just coming, shooting straight from the heart out of obedience. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Juanita Jones. And let me tell you all the formal stuff first. I am a business owner, multi-serial entrepreneur. I have Joyful Journey Travels, which is a travel agency, as well as a serial writer, ghostwriter, that is. I have written 2 books of my own, and I also ghostwrite other people's books and novels as well. I'm a proofreader, editor, and I am the former owner of Edible Blessings Custom Cakes and Desserts. I did the bakery business for many years. And prior to me doing the bakery, I also was a licensed braider. So you can basically call me one of those people that's a jack of all trades. But what you don't see, I also spent over 25 years in corporate America as an executive in the sales and marketing arena. I did extremely well in sales. It's just that corporate just wasn't for me. So I've been out of corporate actually 10 years this July, next month. So that's all the fancy cute stuff. But what you don't see is all of the struggles that I've gone through as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a colleague, as a friend, as someone that has endured way more than what I could even begin to put into words. And so God has commissioned me to be able to share my testimony with those that might be going through something that is similar or something that might be coming up. You never know why God has someone sharing what he has them share. And out of obedience, this is why I am doing these videos. I am in the process of doing what I will be calling Testimony Tuesdays. I'm going to be breaking my testimony down into multiple different categories simply because I'm multifaceted and there are so many things that I have endured, encountered, and have come out on the other side smoke-free. Not necessarily tarnish-free or scarless, but I am here. I know for a fact that God can do anything. There is nothing impossible or too hard for God. So that's why I am sitting here as a living, breathing witness. And I also want to give a quick disclaimer that anything that I say is based off of my reality, meaning it's my testimony, things that I have endured, things that I've encountered, and my belief doesn't require for you to believe. This is simply coming from my witness, meaning that whatever I've gone through, whatever I've encountered, any insights that I might have is based solely on my experience. Does not mean that I disagree or agree with any type of agenda, because I know we're in a climate and a time and a place where people always want to throw an agenda in there regarding anything that somebody might say or do or what they feel like they represent. I'm not here for any of the agendas. I am here strictly to share my testimony based off of what God Almighty has done in Juanita's life. That I wanted to clarify that first and foremost. I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm not here to do debates about anything that I've said. This is clearly based off of my opinions, my expression, based off of my experiences. So I hope that's clarified. that this isn't me coming to you with any type of agendas, simply based off of things that I've experienced. So, like I mentioned before, I'm actually going to be breaking this down into multiple categories because God has been so good to me. I've gone through, protector is my first category that I'm going to be going through, because there are countless times when I know without a shadow of a doubt that it was God that protected me. Not my own doing, not another man's doing, not just sheer luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe that everything has a rhyme and a reason. And I'm going to go from there. So my first series I'm going to start with is protector. So there are going to be a number of stories that I'm going to be going over the next couple of weeks in regards to me being protected by the covering of God. Whether I've done something that I had no business doing, or things that I had no clue that was going on around me. So that's where I want to start. And again, thank you so much for your patience and for your grace while I make it through these videos, because me being as busy as I constantly am, it is very difficult for me to sit down and take the time to do these things. So that's why I asked, just give me some grace. Thank you so much. So I'm going to actually start right now with an incident that happened to me, I want to say about 7 or 8 years ago. We're in 2026, so this had to be around maybe 2018, 2019-ish, somewhere around in there, in regards to me being targeted by gotta be careful of what I say, specifically for YouTube purposes, by a predator, an SA predator. Let's just say it that way. I remember one day I was full blown into edible blessings, which again, I've mentioned before, is a bakery business that I own. And I was on my way to Walmart. I was on the phone talking to my sister, and I noticed a gentleman, maybe about 6 feet tall, Caucasian descent, scraggly hair, like just kind of wild, straight hair, medium build, very scruffy looking, dark clothes. And he just kind of caught my eye, in my peripheral vision while I was on the phone, just walking into Walmart, minding my business, something that I typically did on a regular basis. And I was in the process of getting some items that I needed in order to bake for that evening. There were several orders that I was in the process of doing. So I happened to be going down one particular aisle, and I saw the gentleman, didn't think anything of it, but he was at the end of the aisle. And I was picking up something, still on the phone, yapping away with my sister. And I saw him, as I'm talking, I see him walk from the end of the aisle, and he walked behind me. And mind you, he had no cart. He had it was nothing like a typical customer would do. A normal customer, if they're walking in and they don't have a cart, you can tell they're on a mission. They're looking for something, they're trying to find whatever it is that they're there for. This gentleman, I instantly could pick up there was something off. And one thing that you will learn from me throughout these videos is that I am always going to reference the Word of God. I'm always going to reference my spirit, meaning that when something is off. And I instantly picked up something is off with this gentleman, because first of all, he was staring at me a little bit too long. I'm used to people looking at me. That's fine. People will look, but they'll just keep moving. But he was staring at me a tad bit too long, to the point to where it made me a little uncomfortable. And it was because he was standing at the end of the aisle, and he was just standing there looking at me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's peculiar, but kept talking nevertheless. But he walked past me, and the hairs on the back of my head, the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. I could feel his presence walking behind me. I'm like, not just him physically, but I could feel whatever was on him coming off of him, and it was projecting past me, and I could feel it, and it did not feel good. So he walked past me, and I happened to look to the side. I looked in his face. I know A lot of people are not going to understand. A lot of what I'm going to be sharing over the course of the next several weeks is going to go over people's heads. I understand that because everybody spiritually are on totally different realms, totally different planes. So some of you are going to get it and a lot of you probably won't. So just roll with me, okay? I instantly felt, I felt a presence of evil. I felt it was something that was sadistic. It was something that was meant to harm. And when I turned around and I looked in this gentleman's face, I saw no white in his eyes. His pupils, it was like his whole pupil took over his eyes. He was in full black eye mode. And I was startled, of course. So I forgot whatever it was that I was in the line, in the aisle for, and I just walked off. I hurried up and just walked past him, and I walked off and walked around to maybe 2-3 aisles down into the next area that I needed to be in. Still on the phone talking to my sister, and I just kind of mentioned to my sister, because that tripped me up so bad, I mentioned to her, hey, I think there might be this guy following me. I'm not quite sure, but he's giving me a real nasty, eerie feeling. My sister, being much older than me, was like, okay, well, you might need to report him, find a security officer or something. So we continue on with our conversation. I'm in another aisle, maybe 2-3 aisles down from where I was, looking at some other items, putting them in the car so I could hurry up and get out of the store. I kid you not. I look up, and at the opposite end of this new aisle, he was standing there again. And he was standing there in the middle, kind of like one of those villains that you see in the movie, just standing and just looking at their victim, so to say. And he was standing there looking at me again, and he proceeded to walk down the aisle. Okay, me being me, I'm small in stature, but I'm far from a punk. So I just stood there and I looked at him and I said, can I help you? Like, are you following me? I literally asked this man this. I said, are you following me? Is there something that you need from me? Did I do something to you? What is the problem? And he just proceeded just to look at me, and it was as if he looked through me. Almost like he wasn't human. And he walked past me again, not saying anything. I just kept looking at him. I stared this man down to let him know, you got the right one. Because whoever it is that you're looking for, if you're looking for me, you got the wrong. I will fight till there is no breath left in my body. That's who I am. And so he walked past again and didn't say anything. At that point, I said, you know what? I'm not Boo-Boo the Fool. I wasn't born yesterday. So I know this man is now up to something, because he's not following anybody else around. He's not doing this to anybody else. He's followed me from the time I walked into the store, down the first aisle. Then he's proceeded to follow me 3 aisles down. I confront him. He says nothing to me. And so now I know for a fact, you're up to something sinister. There's something that's off. I then left everything in the car. My sister said, get out of the store and get out of the store now. But I could definitely tell that there was something sinister going on. He was up to something no good. So I proceeded to leave the cart in the middle of the aisle, and I walked out. I just left everything there. And I sped walk out of this Walmart. He lost track of me because I kind of zigzagged through some aisles before I walked straight out, so that he wouldn't be able to just immediately spot where I was parked. So I go outside. I found a security officer. I let him know, gave him a real quick description of what was going on. And I hurried up and got to my vehicle, and I noticed one of those infamous vans parked not too far from my vehicle. And I just stood back and I waited. I asked the gentleman to walk me to my car, which he did. He had no problem with that. I got in, locked the doors, and I got off. Everything in me knew something was wrong. Something was off with that encounter, especially because I supernaturally witnessed his eyes go black. And I know, like I said, a lot of people are not going to understand. They might not believe me. I just know I saw what I saw. I would not be telling this story just for the sake of telling the story. Not even a month later, and this is how I know God is always, he is with me. He is with you when you don't think he's with you. I know for a fact this was supernatural. I got out of the store. I was safe. But almost a month later, I happened to see this man's face pop up on my feed. I can't remember exactly, because remember, this was almost 10 years ago, so I can't remember exactly the extent of what was said. But he happened to be one of the SA traffickers. He happened to be the leader of it, excuse me. He and several other gentlemen were caught and, excuse me, guys, went to a coughing frenzy, but the devil is a liar. The story has to get out. And I already know that didn't come out of anywhere just for the sake of it. So I went and got me some water. So now I'm back. But he happened to be caught almost a month later. It came across my feed. I instantly recognized who the gentleman was. And I was able to let the police officers know that I had an encounter with this gentleman. Thank God nothing happened to me. But I was able to witness for the sake of the young ladies that were caught. And these people had done some of the nastiest, most vile, most wicked things. And I was next on the list. Turns out that I actually was targeted because I'm a small female. I looked helpless. I'm doing the quote unquote, because looks can be very deceiving. I know how to protect myself. But because I am a small female, I was alone at the time, I looked like I was an easy target. And I wasn't. I happened to exercise wisdom in the time at the moment. I took full I took in everything around me. I took in all of my surroundings. I was able to stop myself from going into a frenzy to get a detailed description of what this gentleman looked like. To the point to where I was able to point out exactly what he wore, what he had on. And here's the sad part. This isn't the first time I've been targeted. But this is the first time that I was able to get in detail exactly what this gentleman was up to. And he was a part of a bigger empire, an enterprise, so to say, and happened to be a ringleader. I am so grateful that I was protected in that moment, because who knows what they had in store for me. Who knows? Because they were involved in the trafficking. They were involved in the donations, body donations. The Jesus have mercy. There were a list of things that these people were involved in. And I was targeted to be a part of that. And every time I think about that moment, I just can't help but get emotional, because I know God was with me when he told me to get out of that store at that very moment and to wait, step back, and ask a gentleman to walk me to my vehicle. Because who knows, somebody actually could have been in that van. The van that was near me, there could have been multiple people in that van that was just waiting for me to get outside and to get by myself. I'm grateful that he is always with me. He's always protecting me. And I just wanted to share that first encounter of him being my protector, to let you know that following your gut instinct is never wrong. I have so many more of these type of stories, to where it could have been way different had I not listened to the unction of my spirit. So I thank God for his protection. I thank him for always looking out for me, even when I didn't look out for myself. Because there were moments when I did not listen. And I could have put myself into some serious circumstances that I might not be here to witness about today. So I pray that this is a blessing to somebody out there, to let you know that even when you don't feel seen, when you don't feel like he's protecting you and covering you, think about all the things that you could have gone through, all the situations that have happened to you, and you're still here. So I pray that this has been a blessing to somebody that's watching. And I thank you so much for listening to my initial story of him being my protector. And there are many, many, many more to come from many different categories. So bear with me again as I'm going through the process of putting my stories out. Bear with my lighting, bear with my volume, bear with my background. Just please, thank you so much in advance for giving me your grace in advance. And I look forward to being able to witness and be a blessing to all of you that watch this and that's meant to see this. So thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you guys again soon.